We're back again with another weekly episode filled with gems or gold. And this week's message, as we wind down in 2018, I thought this would be a helpful message for many people that are rolling into 2019. And it's self-auditing yourself. So what do I mean by self-auditing yourself? Every year, we'll take for example, you have critics that analyze and critique movies. What was good about the movie, what was bad about the movie, and what could have been changed about the movie. And that is essentially what self-auditing is you critique how your year went. So if you look back on 2018, what are some things that you did good? What are some things that you did poorly? And what are some things that you would want to change as you go into 2019? This is something I thought about from a mentor of mine who does some amazing work. She is basically a business developer, and she's also getting ready to launch her own business. And I was talking to her a few weeks ago, and she always mentions be more intentional with your days, your weeks, months, and your years. And as I thought a little bit more about that, I was like, you know what, this year, or as we wind down 2018 and going into 2019, I want to be able to audit my 2018 so I can level up another level in 2019. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 10 things that I did well in 2018, 10 things that I did poorly, and 10 things that I could have changed about 2018. And I'm going to do the same for 2019. What are 10 things that I want to accomplish in 2019? What are some things that I want to try to avoid in 2019? And how will I be more intentional with the direction that I'm going in my life in 2019? And there's two things that happen when you start to become a little bit more intentional with your time, who you spend your time with, and what you do with your time. And the first thing is you have more of a direction. Your intent is a little bit more focused instead of just going about your days of, well, we'll figure it out, or I'm just kind of going with the flow. Going with the flow works sometimes, but not all the time. It's like anything else. Some things work sometimes, but not all the time. And then the second thing that happens is you start to rewire your brain of thinking about goals that you want to attain, whether it be in 2019, 2020, 2021. So I always go back and look at some of the most successful people in the world and how they got to where they were going. And I think it was... I think it may have been Drake. Or we'll take Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali pretty much predicted his greatness before he was actually great. And there's a powerful thing that happens when you speak it, when you write it down, and when you intentionally think about it, things start to happen. The universe starts to line up to help you get to where you're going. So there are things in 2019, for example, I have one of my goals is to volunteer more of my time in 2019. I think that is one of the main objectives or goals of becoming or living a happier life, is giving more of yourself. We are so selfish, it's unbelievable. And that's from a personal level and a societal level. We're just very selfish human beings. And the thing that happens when you become selfish, and I was just talking to my friend about this the other day, there are some people that are always looking to take, but they're not really necessarily trying to provide value. And my friend and I go back and forth is, why don't we just live our lives of giving and everything that we want, more times than not, kind of comes to us. And a lot of times, if we think of it this way, if you're thinking about creating the next best, we'll just say, sports drink. And your mind is you want to take everybody's money, that may not be the best way to go about that business. But if you have an idea to help others, not only do the vibrations of your just general overall aura change, but things start to line up for you. And I can't tell you how many people go through life thinking about what they can get from somebody, or how they can get something from somebody, or try to piggyback off of somebody, thinking that they're going to thrive with that type of mindset. Now, there are outliers, the 1%ers that get away with that. But for the majority of us having the selfish mindset, usually you'll have many shortcomings and you won't be as successful as you would like to be. It just won't feel as good. When you give yourself up to others in a positive, in a good way that you know is helping other people, it in turn helps you out. So, that's one of my things of going into 2019. I want to give more of myself. I want to volunteer more of my time. The other thing, I have a financial goal of 6 figures within the next year and a half, 2 years. That is something that I write down on a piece of paper, and I subconsciously am thinking about how am I going to get to 6 figures, instead of it's going to be very difficult to get to 6 figures. So there's a difference in how you phrase things as well when you start writing down your goals and when you get more intentional with your time. And so that's one of the big things about this message is I hope people get a little bit more intentional with their time. Just think about your nights and your weekends. What are you doing? What are you doing during your days? I struggle with this at times, of being intentional with my time. And I'll be the first one to admit that. But that's something I want to change going into 2019. I want to be a little bit more intentional with what I'm doing instead of going with the flow of things. Now, some people will watch this video and it may strike a nerve with them, and it may be a little bit painful. Those are the people that'll get true value out of this. The other people will skip over this video and won't get as much out of it, which, my goal is not to force people to watch these videos. It's not to quote unquote market people or manipulate people to watch these videos. Usually people come around to things when they're ready, or if there's a significant event that happens in their life. I just put these videos out, and if you like them, great. If you don't watch them, great. It's a win-win, because I put them out. I know some people watch them, and I know some people get value, and it makes me happy. So my whole thing is I want my bubble to be all about positivity. So again, are you self-auditing yourself as we wind down 2018? Are you going to audit your 2019? Are you going to put goals, things you want to reach in 2019? Are you going to write them on a piece of paper? Again, like I've said before, this is the very first time that I'm actually going to sit down and write things that I want to do, things what I want to accomplish, and things. So I've got 3-month goals, 6-month goals, 9-month goals, and 12-month goals. So I'm going to break them down, because that's one of the big things as we go and try to accomplish things. Say, for example, if somebody is trying to get in shape, they go to the gym, run 25 miles on a treadmill, and then they can't walk for 5 days, and they're like, well, I quit. Well, that's because you were a bubblehead and you tried to run 25 miles and you haven't been in the gym for X amount of time. You've got to break things down into, okay, if you want to get back into shape, all right, start with walking maybe half a mile to a mile. Then as the weeks progress, kick it up to maybe jogging a lap, jog 2 laps, so on and so forth. Don't just go in and think you're going to crush it all in one day. Like people say, Rome wasn't built in one night or one day. So those are my goals. 3 month, 6 month, 9 month, and 12 month goals. Things that I want to avoid, things that I want to accomplish, things that I want to do, things that I want to start. So I'm going to be very, very intentional with going into 2019. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit back and let 2019 go the same way as your 2018 went? Or are you going to be more intentional, more practical, and more driven for what you want in 2019? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Sometimes it's just who's more intentional with those 24 hours that dictates the successful and the not so successful. So I hope you enjoyed this message. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Just leave a comment. Let me know what one of your goals is going to be in 2019. What's one thing that you want to change that you did in 2018 that you don't want to do in 2019? I'm always interested to hear. And as always, if there's anything that I can do to help, please let me know. Feel free to reach out on Instagram at KOATSC. Like I said, I'm always here to help. I'm always here to add value and positivity to anybody that reaches out. Until then, we'll talk soon.